All right, so now you know the difference between the OpenIXP and the IDC. The IDC gets this money, can sustain the OpenIXP. The OpenIXP is advantageous to IDC also because we can market it saying, hey, we have an OpenIXP, which is good for customers. All right, here, explain this. This is a slideshow. This is the IDC Indonesia in 2000, 2007. Racks. Racks. Yeah. Racks, cages. Racks. We're supposed to put musical, dramatic background music here. Yeah. See that? That's the door. It's brown. That's it. That's the door. So up until 2007, and then 2008, she got inspired. IDC is now the art of networking, right? So we created, we expanded this new site. See, that's empty, raised floor, raised floor. Yep, raised floor is now put in racks. So the rack is now black with yellow lighting. More color to the data center, right? 2008. Right, nice story, right? Wallpaper. She's the CEO, she's a woman. 2010, she says, it's now the nature of networking. Yes, that's summer, that was winter blue. That's summer, sorry. That was spring, green, autumn. You mean the thing changes? It's like this. So there's 4 divisions, 4 seasons. See, summer, autumn, winter.
And Johar, would you like to tell them about the one where you were courting Yahoo for the longest time?
Spring. We've been in talk with Yahoo for more than 3 years, trying to get them in. Okay, we'll go back to Yahoo then. This is the customer work area in IDC 3D. So all our customers, we have now currently 1,000 racks in Jakarta, so around 300, 400 companies here. So you can just, yeah. Well, I thought it was good, but our CEO said, more color, right? So this is still white. There, see? Now it's this colorful. There, more color in the meet me room, in the common area. Yeah, this is the common area. See, all the wallpaper, 51-inch television. That's wallpaper. Anyway, still, yeah, we have a pool table and everything for the clients to use. Okay, this is the current router we're using now, which I'm very proud of because it's big. See, empty slots, putting in the slots. Now that's all 10 gigs. These are all 10 gigs. That's gigabit going up. So that's what we have. Yahoo, the story was, we've been talking with Yahoo 3-4 years, trying to convince them to move their equipments to Indonesia. And you know, the lawyer said this, that, this, that. When we made IDC 3D, the colorful one, we invited Yahoo, say, hey, this is a secret, yeah, you don't tell anyone. And when they saw it, within 1 week, they moved because they love spring. So the reason they moved was actually Michael of Yahoo. Mike fell in love with spring and told Yahoo to move it there. If I knew that, we would have painted the racks 3 years before that, right? we would save time of 3 years negotiating. But that's it. So we have everything in there. And it's far from this, right? Yeah. Very dull compared to what we have now. There. I am a techie. I administer the OpenIXP as in I did the configuration. I love coding. I love routing. I spend most of my time in front of a computer. When we started IDC, I was with a tie, everything, you know, and then it hit me. Wait a minute. Every day, I see computers. I don't see people. And computers, they don't care if I'm wearing a tie or not. So now, this is me. Because she loves me, I think, and she knows I spend most of my time in the data center. So it's now colorful. It's relaxing for me to work inside the data center now. So now I'm proposing to her to put speakers in so there's music and color. Hasn't agreed yet. Well, yeah. So the problem was when I told her, it's just a speaker. And she said, there's ANZ Bank here and Yamaha is there. And you're going to put rock music near their racks. They're going to go and they won't subscribe to IDC. So she's thinking about the bosses, those banking that, are you ISO whatever certified? How right is your race floor? Is this secure? Do you have access? And me as being a techie, what do you mean secure? Yeah, it's secure. It's your Ethernet to the switch. How much secure can you get? Well, IDC is quite new when we built it as the concept. In 2000, we made IDC. It's a carrier neutral data center. Not only is it carrier neutral, we have patch panels, but we don't have switch and routers. There was only 2 data centers in the world that actually did that. One Wilshire in the US and IDC in Indonesia. So IDC Indonesia is a data center, but we don't have routers or switches or even servers. All the switch in IDC belongs to each ISP. The other switch that's in IDC is the exchange itself. There is an exchange switch that belongs to the community. And there are switches that belongs to the ISPs. IDC, what we have is Ethernet cable and patch panels, and that's it. So it was a weird idea in 2000 to actually create a data center with no core router or no core switch. And that's what we've been doing till today. Yes, yeah, we just put the switch there and we just patch it in. Hence, it makes clearer now, right? Most of the times you do routing and everything in your ISP. I'm in IDC. The whole of Indonesia is in my place, but I don't have a switch and router except of the exchange. So, because you have nothing to do, you start painting the racks, painting the walls. Because all our job is, hey, Indosat wants to connect to CBN. Yeah, crimp, Indosat, CBN. That's it. That's everything we do in IDC. That's it. That's why we're neutral. That's why the telcos is in IDC, because they don't see us as a threat. There's no way I can control the traffic since I don't handle the switch and routers. And there's no way I can destroy the service level agreement with the end users since I don't have an active device that the traffic passes through. It's just simple Ethernet and patch panels. Want to add the business side? All right, the business side, she has to explain a bit because I don't know.
Hello, I'm Ai. Thank you for inviting me here. Just a little information about your question. How about is if that exchange is shut down? So regarding to that question, I have a lot of questions. In 10 years, everybody will ask, how about if that exchange is shut down or the data center is shut down? So for the next plan to support the exchange of Indonesia, we are set up in the other city, in Bandung, Solo, Makassar, because we have 5 big islands and we have a lot of people in Indonesia, very big. So The next is we already have in Batam. Also, we already have in Bandung. So maybe that's the homework of Johar and all the technique in Indonesia to create a backup of the exchange. That's the next plan of the exchange, because everybody will asking about that. So also we all connect to the others exchange, the others data center. Even there is only one neutral exchange in Indonesia, but the others data center in Jakarta, they also have the exchange like Telkom, Indosat, and others. That's also we pierce each other between the data centers. So for the your exchange here, basic is you just need a patient, how to connect each other, how to think about the exchange is make everybody happy. Also operator, maybe here is in telco operator from PLDT, from Bayer, from Globe. You know now who's the happiest company because of the exchange is very high? The operator, the telco company, because us or the ISP will be concentrate selling the corporate services, which is they need the last mile, which is they need the fiber optic connection. So now all the connection between and the relationship between ISP and telco is very very tight, very very happy and harmony. So as an IDC just direct, if you have a area to set up the data center like us, don't be greedy. That's the key of the success about the IDC and the exchange. Don't be greedy. If you talk about exchange is free, free. It's very tempting. Okay, Bani, I'm just talking about this is the tempting things. The traffic, you see the MLT as a telco operator, you can make a calculation, $1 times, okay? Is just sit and see the traffic, you get a lot of money. Don't be greedy. That's simple. We have a big passion to connect each other. Also the data center. Don't greedy. Telco goes to the ISP. That's a big traffic. 1 gig. Okay, 1 gig times. That's also the big money. There's no commission, there's no purchases. We just support the exchange. We talk with the vendor for the exchange to negotiate about the pricing, about how good that exchange for the community, and also IDC to be like a promotion for the vendor. Talk to Cisco. We have a lot of ISP. We can explain to all the ISP how good is Cisco if the Cisco give switch or Cisco router for the exchange. Also, we talk with Forst, and we will bring to every time we go to explain about the exchange. So be a marketing for the vendor. That's make us satisfied from the vendor, yeah, for the vendor. That's my explain to support the exchange of Indonesia. I have a lot of technicians, so if now Banilara invite the technician from the ISP only like this, maybe next 5 years you have to run a ballroom because more than 600 people there. They talking each other, they discuss about the technician, sharing about the configuration, and we invite all not the politic things, not discuss about the issue of the rules, regulation, and everything. They just eat and drink and chit chat. We have fun. So I think for me, congratulations for Malaysia. Just be brave about the exchange.
What she's trying to say is uh, what's happening in IDC. We started in trying to create an internet exchange, but we ended up being a people exchange. So you see ISPs coming to the common area, even though they have no problem, no trouble. They just hang around and sit and meet the other ISPs, then hang around and sit. We just give them free coffee, free tea, free bread, shower room. They can sleep there if they want. We don't care. But that's what's happening there. Now, keep in mind that I studied in LaSalle, right? So I know what a barkada is. I hang out. And what I feel in Indonesia is very similar to when I was here in the Philippines. We have a very similar culture. You know, makbingir buna tayo, you know, hang around with friends, chit chat and everything. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now do that on the ISP level. Chances are you sit together with the ISPs, you have no quarrel. Personally, you're gonna love that guy because, hey, he just taught me how to use BGP6, just like that. And that's what we found out about the people. Now, why the ISPs are in competition with each other is because the government says that they are in competition with each other. In reality, we're not. But the government is saying, you know, well, not the government. I mean, the press is the right head, not the government or telcos. The press keeps saying, hey, that ISP is now in competition with that ISP, and they're doing better business than that ISP. Once you meet the ISP that's supposed to be in competition with you, especially not the directors, yeah, but the office boys, you know, the one that does routing, you know that, you know, what's to compete? You know, you have your router, I have my router, we connect. The marketing will compete, yes. The directors might compete, yes. But once you're in this level, you know you're not competing. Now, after 13 years, because of these communications, the directors and the marketing people of the ISPs then realize, hey, yeah, you know what? Because my technicals are hanging around with that techie, now I have a new product to sell. It turns out there's something that he has that I want, and something that I have that he wants. So it goes and goes like that. And eventually the network grows and everybody gets a good business. I think one good example is what she did back in 2000. At that point, infrastructure isn't as good as we wanted to. So telco told you know what, these ISPs, they want lease lines. In order to get a lease line, the telcos, they need to invest in PCMs. Then I have to have a megaplex, and you know, each node will cost me $300,000 to invest. One megaplex can handle 64K lease lines, 30 lease lines of 64K, which will cost 300,000. I put it in that ISP, and turns out for the next year, he only sells 5 lease lines. That means I have 15 idle time slots of 64K or something. So what she did was ask the telecom, where did you put your last megaplex? And Telkom, because they're in IDC also, told her, hey, we just put it in south of Jakarta, in that area. She gathered all the ISPs and say, all the ISPs, stop selling internet anywhere in Jakarta except that area. So all of a sudden, Telkom that used to need 1 year or 2 years to fill up a megaplex, now within a month, all their time slots are being used because all the ISPs are just selling in that area where Telkom just put the megaplex. That means Telkom is very happy. They have no idle capacity. The ISPs are happier. There was a time where a client wants to connect lease line. The ISPs will say, yes, maximum 6 weeks will be on, but within 2 weeks, you will be on, hopefully. Now, with this concept, the ISP can say, yes, you're going to be on tomorrow. Because the ISPs know for a fact that the infrastructure is already there. They don't have to tell the telcos they have a lease line in that area, where the telcos, if they don't have a megaplex, will have to put one there. So that's it. Once you get that interaction, all of a sudden, like if you come to Indonesia, Telkom is now good friends with the ISPs. ISPs are good friends with all the telcos. We realize that we actually do need each other. It's not cliche, we actually do need each other, and we are actually really beneficial for each other. If you're an ISP, right, you can do wireless, I agree. But wireless, rain, thunderstorm, typhoon, and the wireless antenna goes down. As an ISP, you're better off saying, hey, if it's a lease line, I'll have less headache. I will have to think about the 2.4 frequency that's is unlicensed and it goes down. I don't have to think about the thunder. I don't have to think about. You want lease lines to your customers, not the wireless. But you're doing wireless because you're not in good terms with the telcos. Telcos are not in good terms with the ISPs because the telcos don't trust the ISPs. Hey, you're going to take advantage of my network, so I'm going to sell the last mile and the internet in one package because you guys are lousy. Now, that's the thing in the 10, 12 years period in Indonesia. We manage to mix. So telcos are willing to sell only last mile without internet, and the ISPs are willing to sell the internet, not making their own last mile infrastructure. We're in an economy in Indonesia, 98, which is very similar to the Philippines. We have no money. So if you have 3 companies doing the same 3 infrastructure to the same place, nationally it's a waste of money. So the second thing what she did was, there's Telkom, there's Excelcom, there's Lintas Arta, there's Indosat in Indonesia, and they all have their infrastructure. So she managed to have a talk to all of them. And for instance, Cablevision, First Media, had this plan of making not only last mile inside Jakarta, but also intercity. Excelcom has intercity capacity, but no last mile inside Jakarta. So we sat down and said, you know what, Excelcom, use your money just for intercity and terminate it in IDC. We will make sure that it will get to the end user because Cablevision has this last mile solution. Now, if you can do that, I guarantee you that Cablevision will not do intercity. So Cablevision stops doing intercity connections, building their own fiber, and Cablevision does First Media, and Excelcom does the same thing. They concentrate on building intercity fiber, but no longer making the last mile connection. So even then, you can join the operators. Now, what's good about the internet, one thing I found out, is by law, if you have an operator connected to another operator, by law, they have to pay something like sender says all and all that thing, right? The weird thing is, once they're connected to the exchange, IP, they don't pay each other. I mean, the law, turns out, is thinking about signaling, not routing. So once it's in IP base, Indosat is connected to the Open IXP, Telkom is connected to the Open IXP, and they do traffic. Indosat traffic goes to Telkom and etc. They don't have to pay each other anything. But if Indosat and Telkom connects directly, they have to pay, correct? Now imagine this. Globe, voice, that's voice over IP, connect to the exchange. From the exchange, PLDT, voice over IP to voice. You don't have to tell the government that anybody has to pay, right? It's IP traffic. But if voice from Globe, voice PLDT, and you connect, then you'll start paying each other, right? See? That's the power that the internet has. Anything that's over IP isn't actually that covered. Don't tell your regulators that yet. No, no, the camera is at your side. It's not coming on me. But that's the power you have. You have the power to unite everyone. That's the power that we, and you do get business out of it. IDC is now a very big business. We have data centers in 5 and 6. Yes. Yeah. So in Indonesia now we not only have Yahoo, we have Akamai, we have so now the international players. Remember we were reaching out to telcos. Turns out not only telcos are interested in this. Yahoo said, hey no, instead of just having private peering with all the ISPs, which will cost me, I'll just peer to the open ISP and be connected with all the ISPs in Indonesia, which is cheaper. Akamai now has the same idea. Akamai before, they will put installations in all the ISPs. The ISPs will have to pay for the international bandwidth to synchronize because they will be saving bandwidth, right? I'm in talk with Akamai a few weeks ago and said, hey Johar, forget about that. We're going to put Akamai in Indonesia connected to Open ISP and we'll pay the sync between the servers in Indonesia to the servers wherever in the US, which can be used by all your 250 ISPs. Nobody has to pay for the bandwidth, which is a good thing. So that's the thing that you have, your power. The power you actually can get by just creating a simple exchange. What is an exchange? I agree with Banilara. It's just a single switch. Everybody connects Ethernet port to it, and that's it. That's actually it. If you see the configuration of the Open IXP, there is no configuration. The only configuration I do when there's a connection is neighbor BGP AS number. That's it. So I just add that one line, neighbor whatever IP address, remote AS number is his AS number. That's the only configuration I do because they want to talk to a BGP speaker. Aside from that, no configuration at all. Yeah, right? Think, Bunny.
I think what's happening in the Philippines right now is what you're describing, wherein content providers are locating on each and every telco caches. And on my point, because right now in the Philippines, more or less, the ISPs are dead or dying. With a successful internet exchange in place, neutral and everything, do you think the ISPs will again be back in business? Because, for example, if you go to Indonesia or Hong Kong, you have a lot of choices among ISPs. So if you're not happy with one, you move to another. If you're not happy with this one, you move to another. Here in the Philippines, you have a very limited choice. So do you think an IX will rejuvenate?
Absolutely, yes. The IX, if you have this running and you have everybody connected, it will be very helpful and a very major factor of no one closing down. Okay, it's very hard to explain to telcos and regulators of what an IXP, or in my case, a neutral data center is. But I'd like to explain it this way. Let's say you have two cities, Manila and Baguio. And let's say in Baguio there is a industry that people there just makes handbags and whatever. And you have no toll road from Manila to Baguio. I mean, nothing at all. We know for a fact that if someone builds this super highway from Manila to Baguio, business will boom. People from Baguio will be able to sell more handbags. The people from Manila will be able to buy more handbags, right? If you leave it to the operators and the government, the usual way they think is they'll see how long the road is, how much it will cost to buy the land, and how much is the cost to build the toll road, get loan, build the toll road, and so in order to get their money back, you'll have to pay to pass it. Now, once you're in that situation, most chances are you forget that you building the toll road so people will sell more handbags. You're thinking that now the toll road is the main business, and you get more and more money of people passing through the toll road, and that's everything, all you can think of. Now we go to the internet people, you, me, us, the IDC, the exchange point. First, what we do usually is, hey, Bani, this is your land. You know what? With your own money, you built 15 meters of road in your 5-meter land. Now, next to Bani is Ai's land, and she has like 10 meters, and she'll go, you built with your own money 15 meters wide road in your 10-meter land and connect it to what Bani has built. And it goes on and on and on and on. What's the distance between Manila and Baguio? What, 10, 15, 20? Well, whatever. Let's say it's 30 kilometers. So if you ask Bani, right, the toll road goes on. Why is he willing to invest his own money? Simply, he'll tell me that by making 5 meters, I get 30 kilometers free. That's the whole concept. And because this is done by everybody, you don't forget that you're building this actual toll road because you want the people of Baguio to be able to sell more handbags to the people of Manila. And so when the government comes in, like the OpenIXP and IDC, and asks me, hey Johar, this toll road from Manila to Baguio, who owns it? I don't know, sir. It's just there. All right, so what's the cost of building it? That I don't know also. Because everybody's there. That is the IDC. That is the OpenIXP, in my case, the IDC. IDC belongs to me and her, this whole data center. But imagine Indosat, Telkom, and the ISPs are part of the road, even the content. Imagine the money that Indosat has to invest to dig the road from their main NOC to IDC and terminate their fiber optic. It's their money. And why they did that? Because they need to connect to the OpenIXP. So the OpenIXP is free to connect, but getting there is an investment, right? So this road, people passing it is free. But is it free to build? It actually isn't free because everybody is investing their own money. Now this system will fail if there's this one guy that only has 1 meter of road and says, I don't want to build anything. Your 30 kilometers will be wasted if you have 1 meter of nothing, a drop in land. So it's a waste. But let's say now Bani says, hey Johar, you know what? I want to make money out of this. So what he will do is he will make a tapa house selling tapa on the side of his road. So he'll make money selling food, but still passing through his section of the road, nobody still has to pay. Right? So that's the internet way of doing things. Well, I like the blue. I deliberately stand here. So that's what we have. We make the IDC. The IDC belongs to me. It's like saying this toll road belongs to me. But actual fact is every piece of the world doesn't belong to me. I'm just here so there's something people can see. Internet data center, OpenIXP. There's a name, there's a device for it. But in effect, what you're doing is building a toll road, each with your own money and connecting it to the one next to you. Now, let's say your toll road is here, and then this guy 20 kilometers away, and he's doing a lousy job with his part of the road. It's bumpy, it's crowded, there's a pothole. You will feel the effect because either cars will not pass anymore because of this small road or small bumpy pothole, or you'll have less cars passing because they have to slow down on this side. You know for a fact that your competitor, if he's not doing good in his side of his internet, you will get affected. If you're not doing good in your side of the internet, your competitor will get affected. That's the toll road system that we're doing in Indonesia. And that's what the sad thing part is I thought of this when I was in college here. You know, I saw you guys, I saw how the Filipino people kind of, you know, hey Johar, you know, follow us, you know, we'll take you to this place and introduce you to people. You know, that concept of just being nice to strangers. That's why I thought of this. You guys are the one that told me this, and you guys are actually the one that introduced me to the internet back in 1991 and 92, LaSalle. So I'm back here as, you know, a Filipino, just as a last light, just saying, hey, you know what? Let's do this. We can actually do this in the Philippines, because I don't know the technical configuration here. I have no idea about the politics, but I do know the people. And I do know that the Filipino people, it's in their common way of doing things. So that's why we heard, yeah, right? Right. So let's hope we can do this. And I don't know if it's the right. I want to go back and forth here to Manila. And I need an excuse to do that. So we're actually just thinking, you want to say it now? Yeah. So if you have this exchange, and I do see that there's a few peers inside that, let's talk about that, neutrality and everything. But from our side, we have 761 AS numbers. We have 60 gigs of traffic. We have Yahoo, we have Akamai. And what we want to do is, we're willing to do is, we'll just connect to your exchange from Indonesia. So all of a sudden you get 700 AS numbers and everything inside the exchange. Yeah.
Okay, before we segue to the, I think that's more of an ASEAN IX or a different.
No.
No,
It's different. It's just us.
Okay.
It's just the Philippines. No, it's not. It's just Bani and Johar, or the Philippines in it, or it's just, yeah.
Okay, so before
or we can move it to LaSalle, no?
Yeah. Actually, before we move any further.
Just kidding.
Before we move any further, I'd like to introduce the people in the room so that we know each other. So we have people from Globe, people from Bayantel, people from Ateneo, people from UP, and people from Erie. Okay, so more or less, your term office boys, I specifically invited people here who handle BGP because, as Sir Benji said, it's only lately that he knew about the IX, and it's been in operation since 2007. I think our ASTI's mistake here is we hold stakeholders meeting, we invite executives from telco, we're not reaching the right person inside. We get the director, we get the salesperson, etc. It doesn't trickle down. So if you get the person who actually handles the routers, he appreciates the bandwidth savings, he'll be the one to lobby with his management in terms of connecting. So I think with future sessions of information sharing in terms of page open IX, I hope to get more people who handle BGP in this room. Yeah. As they say, don't mess with your network administrator, right? Because he can. I actually invited LaSalle here. Unfortunately, it was a bit short notice, so they couldn't come. Yeah. I like your point about being educated in the Philippines, or at least having your here, then going back to your country, then doing something about it. then the Philippines is still not at that level in terms of internet exchange. So I hope next time you visit, there'll be better news that we can share. Yeah. About my question on the ASEAN IX, is that a bit confidential, or because
Okay.
the Philippine representative to the ASEAN IX just called me and they're stuck in the meeting with the
No problem.
secretary. So
All right. To be honest, I was the chairman of ARIX in 2000, the ASEAN Regional Internet Exchange. Now the problem with ASEAN is Malaysia and Singapore. They don't get along. Every time we have a meeting in Kuala Lumpur, Singapore won't attend. Every time we have a meeting in Singapore, Telkom Malaysia will not attend. It's a big headache. So it wasn't because I was clever, it was because I was in Singapore or Malaysia. I became the chairman of the ASEAN Regional Internet Exchange, and I was going to do this concept. With no investment, we'll have an internet exchange. Went back to my country, tell them we have an exchange, and all of a sudden, all the politics blew, exploded. Telkom said, hey, this is supposed to be Telkom's project, so the ASEAN exchange has to be headed by Telkom, not Johar. Then the Telecommunications Society said the same thing, the ISP Association, the Minister of Communications. It became very ugly in my country. I was appointed chairman of the ARIX, but they're fighting over something that hasn't been done yet back in my country. So I just dropped it with Pa Idros. They were willing to give 500,000 US dollars every year, because anything below 500,000, they don't have to go to the meeting. It's just the secretariat's pocket money, something like that, right? Cash. So that's why it didn't succeed at that time. Hopefully this time around it will be better. My what I will say now is, I don't think Indonesia can be a chair for the ARIX, because the political scene is still like that.
I think it will be misinterpreted as a transit network between countries, and won't the carrier same problem though, won't the carriers, the submarine cable owners protest because it's lost business for them?
Nope, because it's in the same concept at the Open IXP. What's inside the Open IXP or inside your IXP is these ISPs just announcing their IP addresses. They're not passing international transit inside the exchange, right? So for the ARIX point of view, this is just a bunch of regional IP addresses. You don't actually get White House or Intel's IP addresses, so there's no international transit. That means it's harmless. And how do we connect from one country to the other country? We rent the fiber submarine cables that's laid out by the operators. We pay them. That's why ASEAN had that 500,000 US dollars per year to pay for the link, to actually pay for it. Now, in that experience, actually is why we're back here. We have the Open IXP. You have the Phoenix. I like to call it the Phoenix. It's like a PH Open IX. It's like, oh, the Phoenix. Except me, you don't read it as Phoenix. Try it in all small letters. PHOPENIX. And it's, oh, Phoenix, you know. Right, anyway, that's what I want to do. I know that regulators and telcos involvement will have a lot of things they have to consider before connecting the exchange. But if I'm IDC and I am OpenIXP, I would like to ask permission to you whether I can connect to your exchange, not as Indonesia, just as me. Hey, Bani, I have this. Let's do BGP. I'll even pay for the link going to Manila. That's what we do. That's what she does, because she does this good business called IDC. Lots of money. So we just pay for the link. Now, once we're able to do that, and I also have a friends in Malaysia that will able to do that. Let's just do it. Once it's working, then we'll tell, you know what, all these 10 years that the ASEAN countries sitting together, talking, we're doing it, and we'll show them this is how it's done, and it's done already. So we don't have to go through all those political things. So where's your node located?
Inside Globe.
So how do I get a lease line to there? All right. So just give me the address and I'll put it in. Really, that's my intention. One of the intentions I'm coming here is to connect my exchange to the Philippine Open Exchange, wherever it is. What I want to do is, instead of the people being told to connect, they will connect because they think it's advantageous for them. Like they'll reduce their Facebook traffic or their Yahoo Messenger traffic. If I can convince Akamai and Yahoo to also announce the IP addresses, that means there's a lot of reduction in international traffic. So I want to make the Phoenix more popular. But are all the ISPs in good terms with Globe?
That's something that we need to discuss because apologies to Globe. There are some networks who want to connect, but they're having a hard time justifying the cross-connect inside Globe's data center.
All right, is Globe connect in your own building, or is it someone else's building? Is it just one building belonging to Globe?
They own the building.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah, sir.
If I had to take this historically back, that was the reason why in 2004 we had PHNet, and the original members were the schools, who were not a problem until the administrator all got taken off. But the idea, because at that time, okay, I worked for the company that supplied the Cisco router. And my boss already had the vision that once this goes up, someone named P, someone named G, someone named E, and someone named B, we're all going to say, uh-oh, not good. So at that time, when we had set up our ISP, Mosaic Communications Incorporated because of that, but if you take, I'll borrow you, if you take the initials, it's MCI. The idea then was, how long would Moscom exist as an ISP when eventually someone who was providing us our links would say, wait a minute, you're having my cake and you're eating it too. All right? That was when he decided he'll just, the ISP, Moscom, it was for all practical purposes a marketing instrument to sell Cisco routers and system integration work. And then eventually it went to application development, and that's where it is now. So it eventually evolved into an SI, content developer, and I don't know whatever else they're doing over there since I'm not there anymore. But a lot of the other folks have also evolved that way. Yes, the ISP operation has largely folded, but in their place, I find that a lot of my contemporaries have gone from ISP dial-up modem providers to developers. Now you have whatever, right? And the hope of us is, can someone indeed put up, whether, we don't really care at this point. We just, because for the content providers, we find it utterly dumb when we do a trace route to go from one of those 4 letters. And then you get to find out, oh, well, the nearest point is either Hong Kong or you're going to do it over in San Francisco. And here you are, you're trying to push this application to your whoever. And then when you demo it, they get to go, I'm just across the street. Does it take 250 milliseconds? Exactly. So, this has been a holy grail to find someone who will finally set up an internet exchange that is truly neutral. There was a hope that the original foundation that was set up way before PHNet could have carried over so that they would have been the carrier neutral group originally by the schools, and then it had later on evolved. That was why when PHNet started, first it was the schools because internet was deemed educational, and then later on when they opened it up for commercial users, they were kind of hoping to answer the sustainability issue. If the folks who had money could help folks who kind of found it difficult to raise money, right? And then evolve that into being able to put something somewhere. And that was where we had a bit of the archers and blue eagle. It's another whole story, don't worry. I've got aspect too. Oh, you better believe it. Okay, so PHNet is still around, but it's pretty much in hiatus. And after, this kind of confirms my personal hope that instead of having to recreate it, it's already there. I just kind of hope that PHNet would do a phoenix, rise up from the ashes, and start it up from there. There are enough that thing was run by industrialists, okay, who just have to have out of their heart a little extra money to throw. I kind of hope that they would be able to, just like you, find a neutral spot, be supported enough, and if at worst, they can just be the application house, right? Because at least that way it minimizes there will always be the gray line, but at least it minimizes the case of someone stepping on someone else's toes, right? And as you put it, since the application folks will always need the lines, and given the legalities, at least they can concentrate on that, the carriers can concentrate on that, and the dots get crossed, right? To think that all of this is like a bad dream coming all over again, when the last time the ISPs, when we had one of our last few meetings, and this issue kept cropping up of how to come up with a neutral IX so that it would spur on what we felt was that final thrust of the ISPs transforming themselves into application folks, because that was where we felt the money was. As soon as you can, I guess it's a forebear of someone saying, you do what you're best at, that's why you outsource, etc., etc. Hey, it was there, right?
Okay, so I think one thing that I have to clarify in the IIX is the fun part of it. The association had all these meetings trying to create a configuration of a neutral exchange back in '96. So all directors were there. I'm a smoker, and you cannot smoke in the meeting room. So I went out and went to the men's room and smoked there. Turns out Cablevision, Marcel, was a smoker too. Went there to the men's room, and then Sugi from CBN, one of the biggest ISPs after Indosat, went to the men's room, and we were smoking and said, hey, it's just a switch. It's just a switch, and we just do a single line of BGP. And it was agreed in the men's room that was what we're going to do. So all three of us went inside the meeting and said, stop the meeting, it's solved, just give us the router. And that was it. So there are some things that if you talk more, it will get worse. It will just go everywhere. But if you have that instance when you meet someone and you're just in this relaxed state and saying, hey, let's just do it, I think it could happen. Like yeah, I don't think I'll have any problem talking with people from Ateneo because I'm Indonesian. Well, cheat for the bigger, greater good, you know. But I think that's something that we can actually do. So hopefully the techies are more relaxed than the directors and politicians, and I still strongly believe we can do that. Actually, I did tell Manny. He told the situation in the Philippines. I said, you know, the PCH, the education is right. What if the alumni of Ateneo and LaSalle and UP and whoever, you know, just sit down and say, hey, let's make an exchange. What is it in a company? No. It's just for the fun. It's an alumni exchange. So it isn't Bayan, it isn't Globe, it isn't PLDT. It's just us guys and having fun and doing routing. It might work, you know. Get out of the political scenes and do something for fun. The second thing that I'm trying to do here is actually come in and have fun and show you guys that I'm just a guy in t-shirt and jeans that just loves routing. So truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, I have no intention of grabbing any business here. I just simply love exchanges. I just love exchanges. I just love excitement. I just love having a red button and push it and all of Indonesia shuts down kind of thing. You know, I just love that. Yeah. But I don't really like thinking about business and how to get money and everything, because there's a lot of MBAs that can do that better than I can. But the passion of the love of the network and trying to get it together is the main driving force why I'm here, why I'm in Manila, why I'm in the Philippines. I mean, this is the first place that I actually tasted the internet in LaSalle back in 1990 something. I won't tell, then you know how old I am, right? But that's it. That's the passion I have. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm willing to do whatever. And if we can do this, if we can actually have an exchange in the Philippines, an exchange in Malaysia, and hopefully Singapore. I don't really care about them, but connect the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia as this great big exchange. Do you know, in terms of fiber optic, if you look back in 2000, that the U.S. does not have a direct fiber optic going to Africa, only Malaysia does. And back in 2000, Australia has PACRIM, right, which only handles voice, but their main internet is only through Jasaurus and Simewe 3 that lands in Jakarta. So we're the only country that actually has fiber going to Australia. And you know, the Philippines always had that connection, SQLnet since 90 whatever, I always had that fiber optic going to Guam and the US and whatever. You connect these three nodes, logically 80% of the internet traffic will have to pass through us, either we like it or not, because all the fiber optics are here in this region. Why is it here? Because it's shallow water. You know, Alcatel just loves laying cable in the Malacca Strait and whatever. It's here. I don't want business. I want that big red button that we have. When we press, everything shuts down in the world, right? Every time I watch a James Bond movie, I want to be the bad guy with that big red button. Never wanted to be James Bond. It is true. Imagine if we have that red big button, you can go to the Middle East and say, hey, Israelis, Palestinians, make up, or I push the button. No more Facebook updates for you, you know. That's what we can do for a good thing. But I can tell you for a fact that once you get that big red button, it's no fun. I can shut down the Indonesian internet, you know, Telnet, clear IP, BGP, asterisks, everything goes down. But once you're able to do that, it's no fun anymore. So we have to go to a bigger target now. We have to shut down the world. The cable is there. The safe South Africa Far East cable from Malaysia, the Simewe 3, Jasaurus, the Philippine cables. It's all over the place. It's all here. It's all built by foreign investors. It's physically in this territory. All we have to do is work with each other and we control the internet. Now, once we control the internet, then the capitalist friends of yours can go and make business, right? Everyone in Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia will be rich. We control the whole world. It is. I actually have a picture. Do you want to see? Here, just turn that on. It is true. It absolutely is true. So it's not only regional, it's something that I'm not bragging about it, but I'm still concentrating on the exchanges. But what you have actually, and this is an old map. Actually, I have a newer map. On. And it was in the year 2000. You know, in 2000, Alcatel and everyone has this map. And you know this map cost $3,000? Yes. But you know what, in 2000, if you go to Alcatel website and go ftpalcatel.com/pub/confidential, you can actually download it. Don't tell them, yeah? 2000, so I think they forgive me already. Anyway, this is what we're talking about. So I can zoom this as much as I want. It's gone. Ah, there it is. See, something about the US is like this. And the other side, that side goes all the way to Europe. That's the only one going to Africa, right? From Malaysia. This is the cable that Australia is using for voice. That's the Simewen Jasaurus. Southern Cross was planned. It goes to New Zealand, but it doesn't connect to the Australia. Australia has to make its own Southern Cross. Now it's existing, but at that time, no. If you see here, this cable here, going all the way to Guam, if I can logically have the Philippines and Indonesia and Malaysia as one single node, that means it's a single hop to anywhere. It's a single hop to Australia, it's a single hop to Africa, it's a single hop to the US, single to Asia. If you're from the US to Africa, it's 2 hops. You go to Europe, then Africa. Go to Australia, it's 2 hops. You go to here, then to Australia, because it has to go to Jasaurus. You are actually, this region is actually, if you build the fiber optic network as a star network, it actually is the center. And it's not planned. We didn't plan it this way. It just happens because just people just love pulling fiber optic in this area. That's what we can do. You know, we can do this. I'll be willing to share power with the Athenians and UP and all the other, UST also, to control the world. How do you like that? It's doable. It's not only doable, it's already there. It's not something you have to build. It's not something you have to invest. It's already there. All you have to do is make an exchange in the Philippines, and we all connect the exchange and we become powerful. I told you I didn't care about money. Yeah, just power. No, I'm a geek. I'm actually a hacker at heart. I'm a geek. I started, my first program was when I was 9 years old in 1977. I have a TRS-80 before the Apple computer, so I'm just a geek. I just love doing something so I know it can be done. Once it's done, it's no interest anymore. So my only passion in doing this is to actually know if it can be done. Once it's done, you know, I don't care who gets the business. I just want it done. And it's feasible. You're most engineers here, you know what I'm talking about. It's a single point to anywhere. You connect the Philippines to Malaysia, to Indonesia. This will be a single hop to anywhere in the world. Right? You cannot divide what? Europe? Nah. They'll have to go 2 hops to Australia. US, Africa, 2 hops. US, Australia, 2 hops. We are the center of the internet. No, we are the center of the submarine cable. This is going too wide, but that's why I'm here. Tell you this. And this is not a dream. A dream is something that you dream of and is planning to do. This is already there. So now, after this presentation, I guess you guys will be looking at fiber optics cables in a different way. Yeah? Don't you just love it that everything passes through here? See, even this cable is from Europe, not from the US. Yep.
Johart, so to take it further, it would be like the default free zone of the internet, but ASEAN-wide, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it will be like the IXP of the world. Like if we do it in the internet way, like the Open IXP, no one has to pay to connect to it, but everything in Indonesia passes through there. And then IDC is the business outside the Open IXP that makes this business just because it's hosting the Open IXP. Right, that's the same concept. Once we do this, we'll be the internet exchange of nearly all the traffic. And everyone in that country, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, we just make data centers that guards the exchange point, and everybody makes a lot of money of that. So if I'm a game developer and I want my big game to be playable fast in any country in the world, I will put it here because it's a single hop to Australia, single hop to US, to Africa, single hop to US, single hop to Europe, say maybe 3, say maybe 4. If I put my game in the US, it's 2 hops to Africa, right? Without the Southern Cross, it's 2 hops to Australia. It isn't the center of the world anymore in terms of fiber optic. We are. But they're doing a very good job, so we won't know that. But this is a picture that's drawn by them, so it's actually the real configuration. Did you know that we're the center of the world? Isn't that great? So how do you feel now? Good, yeah? Everybody will get a good business, of course. But first things first, get the Philippine exchange running, connect it there, and truthfully, I have, well, if you want me to do business data center, I will, but my real passion is just creating internet exchanges. And about the looking glass and everything, I'll be willing to do it. She's been keeping me in the office thinking about business. I haven't really have the excuse to do a looking glass, which I would love to. It actually takes me a few hours to do that, but I will tell her it will take a week. So I have to go to another week in Manila to create a looking glass. Okay, but that's it. That's the whole thing. That's why you need, actually it's answering your question, the ASEAN exchange. Why? One, we need it. Number two, I don't think I'm the only person that realizes this. I do believe that they will never let it succeed. People outside of ASEAN will not let us make an exchange that connects these 3 nodes. So we have to do it by ourselves. The Open IXP will talk to the Philippine Open IX, will talk to the My IX or whatever there is that's called in Malaysia, and we just connect ourselves. Because if it goes out, then it will be something they will love to destroy. So let's do it tomorrow. What do you think? It's just a link, right? Yeah, it's just a link. Okay, any other questions?
Any more questions? We still have 7 shirts. Otherwise, we'll be giving it out first come, first serve basis.
7 shares of questions.
Yeah.
I'd like to answer, ask something.
You automatically have one. So
No, because I want to share. I haven't answered. I haven't asked. The shares are given out to
Yeah.
someone that asks questions.
Yeah.
I haven't asked questions yet.
You will be getting one as a speaker.
Will I get a share?
Yeah.
Okay.
And your wife will also. No more questions since unfortunately we won't be serving lunch. We only have cupcakes, so okay. Sir, from UP Diliman.
This is not a question just because I will get a T-shirt, but I'm more concerned of the future. I think we, as an Asian region, plus of course Indonesia, it's very lucky to have you guys now that thinking about all these things, making everything free. Really, the internet culture now. The question is, how do you think we should be able to pass on this kind of culture, this kind of thinking of making everything free to the next generation? Because maybe 100 years later, we don't know what will happen.
Okay, so I have very, very good teachers, right? Besides of the one in Indonesia, Barry Green of Cisco, without going through Cisco Indonesia, sent me Cisco equipments with no contract. We have this country called Top Level Domain of Indonesia running on an unbranded PC. And when they were running out of resources, we talked to Dell and Sun Microsystem, telling them, hey, the CCTLD needs new service. And they sent service. Same thing, no contracts, nothing. They just sent service. So the old guys of the internet, the Cisco, the Dells, taught me that it isn't actually free, because what you need is for the internet to grow, like from Dell or Cisco. If the internet grows, that means I'll be selling more routers. In order to sell more routers, I'll just give a few devices for these exchanges. It's just a single 2, 3, 4 routers, but the business they will generate because of that is great. The same thing as the toll road concept. You want more money, make a food beside your part of the road, which is valid. So I think for the next generation, we have to give them in those kind of directions. If you talk about Cisco and Dell, they say, they're crazy, They have money, they just give up devices. But I think if you can find a similar story to what I told you about the toll road, that you're dependent with the other, so it's not actually free, it's just people don't have to pay to use it, but the person that's handling the toll road actually is investing money. The people that's laying fiber optic is actually investing a lot of money. Maybe that will make sense to them, but that's what we need to pass them to the next generation, and hopefully they'll understand. The internet in Indonesia is now, I think, we're like what the US is 10 years ago. So the content is now being king because of the exchange. So how I describe the ISP in Indonesia, the ISP used to be this big thing that everybody wants to do. But now, what is an ISP and a data center in Indonesia? We are now a road. We're just a road. If you go from White Plains to Green Hills and the road is good, you don't care who built the road and who maintains the road. If there's a single pothole, you'll go angry. Hey, whose this so possible? Why is there a pothole? That's where the internet is. If it's good, no one actually cares who's paying for it. But if it's lousy, they'll be mad. Right? Now, the department that takes care of the road is not a small department. They're not big like San Miguel, but they're not losing money. The internet in Indonesia, the ISP, is exactly like that. We make profit, but we won't be as profitable as Google, but we're not losing money. We are the road now. Everyone is using the road, and nobody's thinking who's paying for the road. As long as there's no pothole, they don't care. So that's where you are, the ISPs. Okay? Any other question? Yep, copy. In Indonesian language, coffee is copy. Yeah, so every time in Bahasa Indonesia, someone asks me, mau copy, it's like, do you want to copy? I say, no, I only buy originals, I never copy. Yeah, I like that. 99.5 RT. Yes.
Um, it's not so much a question but an invitation, because you said earlier you look forward to coming back to Manila more often in the future. I'm from the National College of Public Administration, and we have a research network with some people from LaSalle and Ateneo, UST. It's called the Philippine ICT Research Network. So we're holding a conference on September 2021 at the Philippine Social Science Center. So if you'll be around in Manila sometime around September,
Of course I will be.
we'd be happy to invite you to
Of course I'll be.
present.
September, right?
September. Yeah.
September, I'm in Manila.
The title is ICT for Philippine Development. and
Okay.
Much of what you were talking about, I think, resonates with that.
Yes,
So
I
we'd
think
like
I
to
will.
invite you formally
Yes.
and send an invitation in the future.
I will,
Okay.
I will come. So why I'm interested in coming in? Actually, I did a bit of research of the Philippines, of what's happening here. So it's not totally blind. So I was thinking maybe I could be the innocent person coming inside this community, since I know there's a lot of bad grudges or someone saying this wrong thing. I know that PLDT made the statement that we will never connect to the whatever exchanges it is. So I'm trying to be innocent enough and come here more often, and really to offer, hey, I'm just an internet guy. So let's just connect. It's just a switch and connect. So yes, I would love to come back here in September. On second, even though you don't have an event, I would still love to come here anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I guess no more questions. We can end the session since it's already 12.